A single, deafening roar pierced the cold Petrograd night. Not war's signal, but a profound, world-changing beginning. Through grand halls, a human tide flowed, carrying away centuries of power. An old empire's gasp echoed. From this spark, a new world order ignited. Ideologies clashed, reshaping continents, dictating the fate of millions. A singular voice, filled with fierce conviction, declared a new dawn. It promised liberation. History's truth was complex. What if history, vast and sprawling, could hinge on just 24 hours? One singular, tumultuous day. An ancient empire, centuries of tradition strong, seemed invincible. Yet, its foundations crumbled, unseen, awaiting collapse. Russia, 1917. A land ravaged by war, its people desperate, yearning for change, a whisper in darkness. How could one moment, a flash in time, unleash forces redefining the entire human story? Impossible. A whirlwind of ambition, desperation, and fervor converged. The air crackled with profound, unsettling possibilities. An ideology, born of dreams and grievances, whispered promises. A radical, audacious new path emerged. The 20th century, scarred and reshaped, its trajectory forever altered by a convulsion from Russia's heart. Not years, not months, but within one single frantic day, the world held its breath. We journey back to that singular event, the October Revolution of 1917, a name echoing with profound consequence. Watch as an ancient regime unravels, threads snapping under immense pressure. History accelerates beyond any control. We'll peel back the layers of that chaotic day, seeking its true, harrowing human cost. Behind grand narratives were people, living and dying, their lives forever entangled in history's drama. What if these hours never happened? The imagination grapples with myriad paths not taken. Its echoes still resonate, shaping our present, influencing the world we inhabit right now. This isn't just history. It's the genesis of so much defining our modern existence. Join me as we embark on this journey through history's most consequential 24 hours. We'll explore not just what happened, but why, and its profound, enduring legacy. Prepare yourself for a deep dive into unparalleled historical consequence. The tremor begins now. For centuries, this immense land carried a burden, a quiet sigh under the endless, watchful Russian sky. The Romanovs reigned, a dynasty stretching back through time, shaping Russia's destiny with an iron hand. Absolute power, concentrated in one man's hand, far removed from his people's daily, desperate pleas. Life for millions remained unchanged, tied to the soil, a cycle of toil passed down through generations. Poverty, a silent, relentless companion, gnawed at the spirit of ordinary Russians, a burden unspoken. Cities grew, yet new struggles emerged, as old traditions clashed with the raw, grinding gears of industry. Beneath the surface, discontent simmered, a slow burn of frustration, yearning for a different, fairer way. Then, the distant thunder of war arrived, a storm that would shake Russia to its very foundations. Dragged into the Great War, Russia faced a modern horror, unprepared for its devastating, relentless toll. Initial patriotism quickly soured, replaced by a grim, bone-deep weariness as the true cost emerged. Our sons, ill-equipped, fought bravely, yet were sent into a meat grinder of steel and fire. Millions lay dead, silent witnesses to a war's senseless, unending brutality, scarring the very earth. Morale shattered, despair settled heavy, a suffocating shroud over the souls of the fighting men. Back home, families endured, their hearts heavy with absence, facing hunger's relentless, chilling embrace. Bread lines stretched, endless rivers of shivering, hopeful faces yearning for just one more crumb. Hunger became a constant, unwelcome guest in every home, a gnawing ache in the nation's gut. The economy crumbled, values plummeted, savings vanished, leaving only a bitter, empty hand. Tsar Nicholas, isolated within his palace walls, seemed deaf to his struggling people's desperate cries. Whispers of discontent grew louder, eroding trust, sowing seeds of doubt in the very foundations. The vast gulf between palace luxury and widespread misery became an unbearable visible wound. Strikes erupted, a surge of collective frustration, demanding basic dignity and a fair, honest wage. Even the loyal army wavered, torn between duty and the undeniable plight of their own families. Then, the February Revolution, a spontaneous fire, ignited across the cold, yearning heart of Russia. Petrograd streets erupted, a joyous, desperate roar from people finally finding their collective voice. The Tsar's reign, once seemingly eternal, now teetered, his final agonizing hours upon his imperial throne. Abdication. A single, profound word that sealed the fate of an empire. Centuries of rule ending. 300 years of Romanov rule, extinguished in a moment, fading into history's solemn, quiet archives. A provisional government, fragile and new, struggled to guide a nation adrift in troubled, turbulent waters. But the war continued. The hunger lingered. The people's deep grievances remained, unaddressed, festering wounds. Russia stood on a precipice, a nation desperate for change, awaiting the next, profound, historical upheaval. The Great War dragged on, a gnawing beast, leaving Russia's heart utterly barren and filled with quiet despair. Bread lines stretched for blocks, empty promises echoing in the cold, hungry air. Hope was a fading whisper. Homes were cold, futures uncertain. The provisional government, a distant echo, offered no solace, only inaction. Authority seemed to melt away like winter snow. Who truly held the reins of this vast, suffering land now? Land remained elusive, owned by few. The ancient injustice continued, fueling a deep, simmering resentment always. Into this vast, aching void, a figure emerged from the shadows. A man named Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, Lenin. His Bolsheviks, once a distant echo, offered a stark, clear path. Their message began to resonate deeply. They were few, yet their conviction burned bright. Like a tiny spark, their radical ideas began to catch fire. The whispers of revolution grew louder, carried on the winds of change through weary, tired streets now. He understood the pulse of the people, their deepest longings. A new force was stirring beneath the surface. Peace, land, and bread. Simple words, yet they held the very essence of human yearning. A beautiful, dangerous promise. Imagine the solace of peace, the dignity of land, the sustenance of bread. It was an irresistible song. These weren't abstract ideals. They were desperate needs, spoken directly to the aching hearts of common folk. The provisional government's endless debates paled against such powerful, tangible hopes being offered now. Their slogans, simple and clear, cut through the noise, reaching the very soul of a suffering nation. Yet, beneath those comforting words lay an unyielding demand. Absolute power, swiftly taken, firmly held. For Lenin, there could be no compromise, no shared authority. The revolution demanded everything, utterly complete. This vision, while offering salvation, also required an iron grip, shaping society entirely anew. Without question, by late October, the provisional government was a ghost, its decrees unheeded, its presence fading fast. Their pleas for calm were met with shrugs, their warnings with indifference. The fabric of order was unraveling. Loyalty was a fleeting commodity. Soldiers, tired and disillusioned, questioned whom they were truly serving. The Soviets' councils of ordinary folk grew in power, becoming the true voice of the people now. In key cities like Petrograd, the Bolsheviks, once outsiders, now held sway. Their influence was undeniable. The Smolny Institute, once elegant, pulsed with new energy, becoming the beating heart of a gathering storm. From hidden rooms, Lenin's voice burned with conviction, arguing passionately for one thing: immediate armed uprising. The moment was ripe, he declared. Hesitation meant defeat. Their time, he insisted, was unequivocally now. The call for insurrection echoed through the shadows, a desperate gambit for a nation on the brink, then a desperate move by Kerensky, a final, frantic attempt to quell the rising Bolshevik tide. On October 24th, he ordered arrests, silencing Bolshevik voices, closing their newspapers, thinking he could stop them. But instead of extinguishing the fire, Kerensky's actions inadvertently provided the very spark that ignited everything. The city itself seemed to hold its breath that night, October's chill deepening with a silent, watchful dread. Dates shift, but the air of anticipation, a tangible weight, hung heavy over Petrograd's cobblestones. A cold drizzle fell, a perfect shroud for secrets, as the city prepared to change hands silently. Deep within the Smolny Institute, plans were whispered, the revolution's unseen hand beginning its delicate work. Leon Trotsky, a mind like a razor's edge, directed this unseen storm, charting the city's fate. The Military Revolutionary Committee, a name whispered with both hope and fear, gave their final orders. Out into the shivering night they went, Bolshevik Red Guards, moving like ghosts through the city. And with them, sympathetic soldiers, their loyalties now shifted, ready to answer a different call. The city's lifelines, her bridges, the veins of Petrograd, were the first to be gently claimed. Often, it was a quiet taking, a changing of the guard, almost without a single shouted word. Next, the railway stations, the city's pulsing heart of movement, were swiftly brought under control. The resistance, when it came, was often a shrug, a sigh, a quiet acceptance of the inevitable. The post offices, keepers of secrets and connections, fell with the gentle rustle of forgotten letters. Few dared to challenge this quiet tide, this unseen force that now moved through the sleeping city. The telegraph centers, Petrograd's voice to the world, were next, their wires silenced or repurposed. The messages now sent or halted decided the revolution's rhythm, its quiet, inexorable beat. One by one, the city's vital organs were brought under the control of the silent, determined few. The hours slipped by, each tick of the clock sealing another fate, another quiet victory won. A strange calm lay over the city, a calm born not of peace, but of profound, unspoken tension. Meanwhile, the provisional government found itself in a terrible paralysis, unable to grasp this creeping shadow. Kerensky, his face etched with worry, made frantic calls, a desperate search for loyal defenders. But the lines were silent, or worse, they brought news of desertion, of loyalty long since lost. The city's forces, those meant to protect the government, were disloyal, a truth hard to swallow. Their loyalties lay not with the distant, weakening government, but with promises of a new dawn. Rumors flew like restless birds through the streets, carried on the damp, cold evening air. Fear and anticipation mingled, a potent cocktail, making every shadow seem to hold a secret. The city was electric, humming with an unspoken energy, poised on the brink of something monumental. Every shadow, it seemed, now held a revolutionary, a quiet soldier of the coming upheaval. Every distant sound, a creaking gate or a fading murmur, felt like a secret, urgent signal. The air itself vibrated with the unspoken questions, with what tomorrow's fragile light might bring. They took the city not with thunder, but with a whisper, with a quiet, resolute determination. The ease was striking, almost unsettling, a testament to the government's fading grasp on power. Kerensky knew, deep in his heart, that the foundations of his authority were crumbling beneath him. But one fortress remained, one last defiant symbol against the encroaching revolutionary tide. The Winter Palace stood, a magnificent, opulent shell, soon to become the revolution's last battleground. Towards it, the forces of change slowly converged, their silent work nearly done, their resolve unwavering. Each step taken was a step into history, a quiet march towards an uncertain, yet inevitable dawn. The river flowed on, indifferent to the human drama, a silent witness to history's unfolding tapestry. Life continued, in small corners, unaware of the profound shifts occurring in the city's heart. Inside those grand walls, the provisional government clung to power, its fate hanging by a thread. The air grew colder, the night deeper, as Petrograd braced itself for the final, decisive moments. The silence was deceiving, a prelude to the storm, a quiet hum of profound, historical change. They knew the night's work was almost complete, but the most symbolic act still awaited them. The Winter Palace stood, a beacon of the old world, soon to face the wrath of the new. The chill wind whispered through Petrograd's darkening streets. A profound, fateful night was quietly gathering, ready to unfold. Within the grand Winter Palace, golden light still faintly shone, but outside, darkness began its silent, deep embrace. The provisional government's ministers huddled, their faces etched with growing worry. An unspoken dread filled the opulent room. Young cadets, loyal and earnest, stood their solitary guard, a fragile human line against an unknown, vast future. Beside them, a women's battalion, weary yet resolute, their quiet courage, a fading candle against the storm. A handful of souls, loyal to a fading promise, awaited. The vast, empty halls amplified their lingering anxieties. Outside, the palace walls stood defiant. Yet, a different kind of tide was beginning its relentless, slow approach. Bolshevik soldiers emerged from the city's shadows. Their silent march was a testament to the coming, profound change. Sailors from the distant Kronstadt joined the converging tide. Their sea-worn faces held a steely, unified purpose. And Red Guards, the city's own, swelled their numbers, a diverse, growing force, their intent starkly undeniable. Their numbers grew, an overwhelming human sea. The weight of history, now gathered, prepared to decide. The square pulsed with quiet anticipation, a sea of waiting faces. An ancient city held its collective, anxious breath. As the old clock hands crept towards the fateful hour, a silent tension enveloped the waiting, watchful city. 9:40 p.m., October 25th, by the old Julian calendar. A moment paused, just before the world shifted. Across the Neva, the cruiser Aurora sat anchored. Her silent guns pointed towards the palace's fading light. From her deck, a single gun trained its gaze, not to destroy, but to pierce the very soul. Then, a flash, a deafening boom across the Neva. A blank shot, yet its sound echoed through history. It was no physical wound, this booming sound. It was a psychological tremor meant to shatter resolve. Inside, ministers flinched, their fragile composure broken. The sound, a harbinger of the inevitable, drew closer. The young guards exchanged nervous, worried glances. Their small numbers now felt terribly, profoundly exposed. But outside, the sound was a signal. The vast human tide began its slow, relentless, forward surge. Waves of revolutionaries, dark silhouettes, poured forward. The immense palace, a symbol, now began to yield. Through opulent halls they advanced, an organized tide. The grand, silent rooms offered little, fleeting resistance. Faces, hardened by struggle, now saw untold splendor. A world of privilege stood open, exposed, to them. Minimal resistance was truly met, a quiet surrender. The remaining guards understood the battle was over. No bloody battles raged through these gilded rooms. Only the quiet, measured advance of determined, weary souls. A few skirmishes, a broken chair, quickly passed. The grand takeover was quiet, almost reverently, done. In the minister's chamber, silence hung heavy. They waited, knowing the long, final night was drawing near. The hours passed, each tick a profound moment. The old clock marked the passing of an era. Weary eyes watched the door, knowing what approached. The final, irreversible chapter was poised to begin. Then, the heavy doors opened, revealing the new dawn. The future, unyielding, stood quietly before them. Revolutionaries entered, respectful but firm in their resolve. The long night of waiting was finally, completely over. Words were spoken, quiet and utterly definitive. The ministers of the provisional government were under arrest. They rose, some with a quiet, weary resignation. Their reign, like a fading dream, had finally ended. The opulent chamber stood empty, now silent. A profound vacuum of power, suddenly, wholly created. As dawn broke, a new, stark light pierced the city. The Winter Palace now belonged to a different force. A quiet revolutionary gazed from a palace window. A new dawn had broken, heavy with immense, fresh responsibility. The storming was less a battle, more a quiet shift. A symbolic passing of power, profound and deeply resonant. This was not a bloody siege, as some might imagine. It was a decisive, yet almost peaceful, historical turning. A fortress of empire, quietly taken, not destroyed. Its grand walls bore witness to a changed world. This single act, profound and deeply symbolic, its ripples would spread, touching every corner of Earth, an event whose echoes, slow and undeniable, would resonate. For countless generations, its profound impact would remain. The quiet taking of power, a dramatic, weighty turning, a profound change, the implications yet to truly unfold. And so, the Winter Palace fell, a powerful symbol, its fate forever intertwined with Earth's changing history. The Grand Palace, once a symbol of emperors, now held silent secrets. Dawn crept in, painting a new, uncertain world. The sun, unaware, rose over Petrograd, as it always had. Yet, this day's light carried a different kind of truth. A new reality, stark and immediate, began to reveal itself. The old world was gone, replaced by an unfamiliar dawn. News, like a sudden gust of wind, began to sweep through every corner. What had just happened? The incredible story of the palace's fall spread quickly, carried by nervous whispers and wide-eyed tales. Many woke that morning to a world irrevocably altered. A silent shock settled upon the tired, anxious populace. Whispers of yesterday's chaos slowly crystallized into concrete news. The impossible, it seemed, had truly happened. Petrograd, a city of grand boulevards and stark contrasts, absorbed the truth. A new chapter had begun. As the day wore on, another crucial scene was set. The Second All-Russian Congress of Soviets convened. The air inside was thick with tension, a palpable unease. History was about to take another drastic turn. Among the delegates sat the moderate socialists, their faces etched with deep concern over unfolding events. They watched in dismay, aghast at the Bolsheviks' unilateral power grab, a brazen act of defiance. Voices clashed, ideologies collided, echoing through the grand hall. Reason seemed to abandon its rightful place. Unable to bear witness, a somber decision was made. They chose to walk out, leaving their dissent behind. Empty seats now stood as silent monuments to their protest, a stark division within the assembly hall. Unwittingly, their departure only served one purpose: cementing Bolshevik control. The path forward was clear. Then, from the shadows, Vladimir Lenin emerged. A hush fell over the remaining assembly, anticipating his words. He had been in hiding, an elusive shadow. Now, he stood before them, solid, formidable, and decisive. With unwavering resolve, he declared the establishment of Soviet power. A new epoch had truly begun. His promises resonated with the suffering masses: peace, land, and an end to all forms of exploitation. The world watched in stunned disbelief, a global tremor. What would become of this colossal, ancient land? An ancient empire had fallen. In a single, earth-shattering day, a revolutionary new state was born. Immediate radical changes swept across the land. Banks, industries, and land itself became social property. The cannon fire of October faded, yet its echoes would shape a fractured world for generations to come. This wasn't just Russia's story anymore. A powerful, unsettling force had been unleashed upon the globe. What began as a desperate plea for bread and peace became a vision to redraw humanity's destiny. Indeed, for nearly 3/4 of a century, the planet would feel the tremor of that single night. But first, Russia itself plunged into a brutal civil war, a tragic, harrowing crucible of fire and blood. Families torn apart, communities shattered, a nation consumed by its own ideological fury. The suffering was immense. The cost of this new world was paid in countless lives, a silent testament to history's cruel demands. From the ashes of revolution and war, a new entity emerged, vast and formidable: the Soviet Union. More than a nation, it was an experiment, a grand promise, bearing a name that would echo through ages. And with it, communism, once a whispered theory, bloomed into a formidable, dominant political ideology. Its siren call promised utopia, captivating millions, offering a radical alternative to the established global order. From the mines to the factories, it inspired movements, fueling dreams of liberation and fundamental societal change. Yet, these very ideals also sparked conflicts, igniting ideological battlegrounds across continents, profoundly reshaping nations. The old chessboard of empires was swept away, replaced by a complex dance of ideologies and competing superpowers. This fundamental divergence laid the groundwork for a new kind of struggle, the silent, chilling tension of the Cold War. From the ancient gates of Beijing, a new red star began to rise, its light echoing 1917's fire. To the heart of divided Berlin, the ripple effect was unmistakable, carving a continent in two. It fueled the fires of decolonization, offering a blueprint for nations yearning to cast off imperial chains. Culturally, too, its impact was immense, shaping art, literature, and cinema, reflecting hope, struggle, and sacrifice. The echoes of that night resonated deeply within the creative soul, forever changing how stories were told. So we ask ourselves, was it truly a glorious liberation, breaking the shackles of an oppressive past, or was it instead the catastrophic birth of a totalitarian regime, casting a long, dark shadow? The answer, perhaps, lies not in simple judgment, but in understanding the enduring complexities of humanity itself. And so, we arrive at the quiet closing, tracing this profound, indelible legacy, a world forever changed. A century now stands between us and those tumultuous days, yet its echoes softly call. Historians, in quiet chambers and echoing halls, still ponder paths taken and paths forsaken. The human cost, immeasurable, whispered through generations, a heavy shadow upon so many souls. Promises, once bright as dawn, fractured, lost amidst the storm's fury, leaving only sorrow. The enduring impact of those few, fateful hours still ripples across oceans, across every land. One truth remains clear, my friend. October 1917 wasn't simply a revolution. It was far more. No, it was a cosmic shift, a profound reordering of our shared humanity's very fabric, forever. It undeniably defined an entire age, shaping the destinies of nations and countless souls. Truly, its powerful resonance continues, vibrating through decisions and dilemmas of our world even today. So, let us pause, in quiet contemplation, on the sheer magnitude of that singular, pivotal time, to feel the profound, overwhelming scale of an event that truly altered the course of history. If this deep dive moved you, please gently like and subscribe for more epic explorations. And tell us, would our world be better or worse now without that October Revolution?